I was once criticized by a teacher on videos that I made that I was really ignorant, that I did not believe in evolution. And she sent me some videos for me to see. And then I made a series of videos explaining to her, and she argued with me over several videos, that the fact that you see changes in one species over a period of time does not mean that there could be the interevolution or macroevolution of one species becoming another. The fact that small animals, or birds, insects, change their natures to a certain degree doesn't mean that they become something else. They're still birds. They still have a beak. They still have feathers. The colors may change. The food they eat may change. Some of the structures in their bodies might change, but it's still a bird. The bird didn't lose its wings and grew feet, four legs. Well, you say, but that's the opposite of the way the evolution went. The evolution went from lizard to birds. Well, there were lizard birds who had hands, and they still flew. The fact that something is in flux should mean that everything should be in flux. It should be able to change its basic structure and its basic mannerism in the course of time. It doesn't happen. No monkey has become a man. We have observed monkeys now for over 100 years, and probably the millions of monkeys. Yeah, there's some smart monkeys. None of them have begun talking. None of them are going to school. None of them are handymen. You want to fix a faucet, you don't call a monkey, you call a plumber. Evolution is a myth. The reason why it's a myth is because it takes too much time and it's an impossibility. The number of changes that are required for an evolution to take place over billions of years is incalculable. It's just impossible, mathematically impossible. I heard this from one of the greatest statisticians in the world. His name was Abraham Michael Hassifer. He was the senior professor at the University of New South Wales. He was one of the foremost statistical mathematicians in the world. He came to MIT one year in Boston to figure out some problems that their department couldn't figure out. He was an incredible human being, incredible brain, and he told me that he did the calculations, and it is impossible for evolution to have ever taken place. I never believed it before I heard this from him, but certainly after I heard this from him, there's no reason to even have a half a doubt. It's a myth. No evolution is observable today. No real evolution. Yeah, your foot can get bigger because you walk around in mud areas, so you'll have a wider foot. You'll be in areas where there's sandstorms. Your eyes, the openings of your eyes will be narrower. The position of your eyes will be different. Your lungs will be different if you lived in the high mountains. But you're still a person. You're still a human being. You're not going to be a gorilla. You're not going to become a lion. And no lion is going to become a teddy bear or a house cat. It just doesn't happen. evolution is a lie. You know what else is a lie? Cosmology is a set of lies. The reason why cosmology is a set of lies is because it's all speculation. You know, the supposedly greatest physicist, he wasn't, but he claimed to be the greatest physicist. He had a lot of people who believed him. The greatest physicist of the 20th century was Stephen Hawking. Hawking was a great physicist, maybe a great mathematician, but a very poor philosopher. Hawking, in one of his books, says that the world, the universe that we have, seems to be set up for there to be an observer. It looks like it's looking for an observer to observe it. And the observer actually makes a difference. This is a strange thing, that the observer makes a difference. This actually is found in Talmud Shabbos, that whoever says Kiddush and says and observes that God is the creator of the universe becomes a partner to God in the creation. By observing that God is creating, we become part of the creative process. But the world is looking for an observer. The world changes based upon observers. But then he says, but maybe our universe is a tranquil drop in a turbulent ocean. That's a nice way of saying, but we don't know everything. Maybe there's something else out there that isn't that way, because the possibilities of disorder are greater than the possibilities of order, despite the fact that there is more order in this universe than disorder. There's disorder, but everything follows certain patterns. And he recognized that, but didn't want to recognize that if there wasn't order and that somebody wanted an observer, then there must have been a conscious decision to make the world by the mind of creation, which we call God. Cosmology is a lie. Why is it a lie? It's based upon scientific theories. Scientific theories about what happened in the past are meaningless. You don't know the conditions. And for example, when you're going at the speed of light, space and time change. And the speed of light is what emerges from the beginning of creation. So how do you know how much time elapsed? As far as the powers of creation, which are going at the speed of light, and maybe faster than the speed of light, as you know, the space seems to be traveling faster than the speed of light. These things don't experience time or space. So maybe everything is 6 days of creation. The whole basis of the changes necessary, the whole basis of how much time it takes, is based upon our observations now in this physical world. But we don't know the conditions that existed. We don't know how they were experienced. And in fact, a light beam doesn't have any time and doesn't have any length or space. The light beam experiences no time. As far as the light beam is concerned, it could be 10 billion, 30 billion light years out, and it hits you instantaneously. You won't see it for another 20 billion years or whatever. But the light has already reached you, as far as the light is concerned. As far as the light is concerned, there is no space. So how do you account for that? How do you put a space and a time for something that has no time and no space? Cosmology is a big lie. And the age of the earth and the age of the universe is an even bigger lie. We don't know what we don't know because we haven't experienced it. So how can you make theories based upon that, based upon those models? And yeah, I'm just an old, ignorant rabbi who just doesn't believe in science, not the science of evolution or the so-called science of cosmology.